Domestic violence is not at all uncommon. More often, we hear about women, children, and infirm old people being victims. But can't strong and healthy men be abused like others? Perhaps in the past, this may have seemed like nonsense or even a lie. But with each passing year, the veil is lifted and shocking facts are revealed. Even one celebrity couple recently divorced after accusing each other of domestic violence. At first, society sided with the woman, but then the man managed to prove in court that the aggressor in the couple was not him, but her. It's hard to believe that the man victimized the woman, but sometimes impunity makes a man even more violent and aggressive. In 2018, there was a trial in the UK, after which a woman was jailed for domestic violence for the first time. It was the first case in this country where the defendant in the abuse was the wife. Jordan Worth and Alexander Gerald SK met in 2012 when they were both in college. They were only 16 years old each when they started dating. Outwardly, the couple made a strong impression. The young, beautiful Jordan always surprised the people around her and attracted other people's attention. She studied at the Faculty of Arts, did charity work, helped shelters with homeless animals, and collected money for African children. The crowd of fans tried to impress her and participated in various charity projects where Jordan herself was. She seemed to be a very intelligent and kind girl, but it was just a mask. Alex SK, on the other hand, is a simple and kind guy. He was born prematurely, along with his twin brother. They were very loved and supported in their family, and also all their relatives appreciated and kept a strong, friendly relationship. He had never faced cruelty and therefore did not immediately recognize the manipulative tricks of an aggressor. Alex immediately fell in love with Jordan. They often spent time with each other, posted photos on social networks, and exchanged meaningful gifts. The relationship developed quickly and amazed with its brightness and romance. But then gradually, Jordan began to change, which is not uncommon for an aggressor. First, hiding her true character, and then revealing it a little at a time. Little things that few people would pay attention to were the first step in suppressing the will of a young man. In the first place, all aggressors are terrible egoists. In their world, only they live, and others are simply obliged to adjust to them. It all started with the fact that Jordan's world changed from we to I. Their entire life together was completely centered on Jordan alone. Then she began to exert control over Alex's life, like what he should wear and how he should socialize. With such trifles, she emphasized her importance and necessity in his life. Alex was sure that this was her way of showing him her love and allowed her to interfere in his lifestyle without noticing how he was becoming dependent on her. Her next step was to remove Alex from the family. It was important to her to deprive the guy of support from his mother, other relatives, and friends. She didn't even like him sitting at the same dinner table with them at his house. It was impossible for her to understand their feelings and the reason for such a close relationship. She was eager to break all possible connections of Alex, to thus fix the whole round picture of the guy's existence on her alone. Unfortunately, Alex allowed her to do so as well, because of which she was accessing more of her complete power over the man. She was starting to demand more and more from the guy and control him more and more thoroughly. She was now keeping tabs on who he was socializing with, where he went, and why. She even installed a tracker on his phone so she always knew where he was. She also constantly read his messages with other people. Every day, Jordan's inquiries increased. Scandals, if suddenly Jordan thought Alex looked at someone else, became more frequent and aggressive. The demands for his time with her increased, even if he wasn't free during those hours. She made the guy drop out of college and even quit his favorite soccer game so Alex could start earning money. She wanted him to cater to every possible whim she could think of. Jordan herself continued to attend college. She dreamed of becoming a teacher and was confidently moving toward her goal. But no matter how much Alex invested in the relationship, it wasn't enough for Jordan. She demanded more and more attention. The arguments and jealous tantrums were getting angrier and more dangerous. A serious bellwether of Jordan's behavior was her act on her birthday. It was her 18th birthday in 2013. They were celebrating it out of town at a hotel. At some point, the girl disappeared from the hotel. She just left, and Alex was looking for her everywhere. But a couple of hours later, Jordan showed up on her own. She didn't explain anything to him, just laughed hysterically in his face like it was normal. And yet, at some point, Alex and Jordan broke up. A couple of months after the girl's birthday came Alex and his brother's birthday. They were born in August, and a lot of their friends and acquaintances showed up that day. There, Jordan attacked the brother's 15-year-old girlfriend. The girl was sure that she was flirting with Alex and not just being friendly. That's why she attacked the girl with violence. That's when the guy's friends and family got worried. She began to persuade him and convince him that it was elementary, not safe with Jordan. They asked him to think about breaking up with her. Alex listened to the advice and broke up with the girl. He tried to avoid Jordan, and for this, he changed his phone number. He returned to live with his parents, and it would seem that everything was over. But after almost a year, Jordan wrote to Alex's mother. She reported that she was raising her ex-boyfriend's child. This shocked the whole family because before that, there were no preconditions of Jordan's pregnancy. Still, Alex agreed to the meeting. He hoped that after pregnancy and childbirth, his ex had changed. And at first glance, everything really was like that. The parents suggested Jordan move in with them. They were sure that in this way, they would help the young parents with the baby, somewhere to sit with the baby, somewhere to give advice. She agreed and moved into Alex's parents' house with a small child. So began a new phase of Alex's life together with Jordan. There was no romance in their new relationship, but it really seemed to the guy that the girl had changed. She didn't argue with him, tried to please him, and agreed with him in many ways. Alex didn't notice how he fell in love with the transformed Jordan again. But it took about 6 months before her hysterical temper returned, making it twice as bad. Alex's parents were wary of the girl. They were very happy about their grandson and helped the couple in every possible way. But with the girl, they still had a difficult relationship. They were afraid of her, so they tried to have as little contact with her as possible. She, on the contrary, reacted to every word of the older generation, even the most innocuous. At some point, she made a condition to Alex, either she and the child or the parents. And Alex chose her. They moved to a separate house in the village. Alex got a job, and Jordan took care of the baby. In the house, seemingly everything was fine. But the guy found himself in the full power of the aggressor. The girl daily morally abused the man, not a bit pitying him, but everything became much worse when the second child was born in 2017. The couple had a girl, and after that, Jordan's character deteriorated even more. She began, in addition to moral torment, to add physical torture. She then forced her husband to sleep on the floor while giving him neither a pillow nor a blanket. She wanted him to sleep like a dog on a mat at her feet. Then she forbade him to eat and cook. She purposely spoiled his food when he cooked, like adding too much salt, so Alex had to make do with leftovers. He ate after the girl and his own children, eating weathered food or leftovers. Alex tried to ignore the bullying, but as soon as the girl noticed the lack of interest in her pressure, she would immediately come up with something new. What was important to Jordan was the man's response. Only then was she satisfied. The only thing that pleased the man was work. He was happy to get out of the house and do business, and that's what Jordan noticed. She pressed the guy again, and he quit his job. She didn't care if it took away their source of income. She explained it all away by saying she was jealous of Alex. She felt like he was cheating on her with someone at work. She wasn't afraid of losing the money the man was earning because she could go to Alex's parents at any second and demand finances from them. She knew they would never say no. While doing so, though, Jordan made sure to send insulting things to her husband's mother on Alex's behalf. It was her way of trying to finally destroy the family relationship. But Alex's parents continued to help the couple in every way possible for the sake of their son and grandchildren. However, this too seems petty compared to Jordan's joke. One day, she informs Alex that his grandfather died a week ago. She had simply forgotten to inform him of the tragedy. The man was in shock. He had been depressed for a long time. Strong family ties had unwittingly become a weakness. At such a time, he was very attached to his grandfather because earlier, when he and his brother were small, they spent a lot of time with him. His parents worked hard, and Grandpa often babysat the twins. Alex grieved for a long time until he found out that Jordan had lied. The girl told him in her defense that it was her bad joke, that's all it was. But it got worse from there. If before, the girl only allowed herself to deprive Alex of a normal meal and a good sleep, then she began to beat the man. At first, seemingly playful pushes and kicks turned into slaps and rough blows. She could brutally beat Alex by kicking him in the groin. She also liked to hit him with a hairbrush, which was always handy. Later, she would even be proud of it. During the interrogation, Alex wanted to leave his wife, but he couldn't anymore. He began to fear her. He was afraid for his children because he was sure that if he left her, all the aggression would be transferred to the children. Plus, Jordan never forgot to threaten to kill him and his family. She told him that she was capable of coming to his parents' house and setting it on fire while they were there. Alex was afraid of Jordan, and so he let her bully him more and more. One day, she wanted to wake him up by pouring water on him, only the water was freshly boiled. After that, she wouldn't let him give himself first aid. She wrapped his hands with plastic wrap herself, but that couldn't help him. Alex was basically being allowed to treat himself less and less often. After one of many blows to his face with a hairbrush, his jaw was damaged and a tooth faltered. Alex had to pull it out himself because finances were under total control, and Jordan would never approve of him going to the dentist. Actually, the guy could have been saved a lot sooner than he eventually was. The police visited them often. Neighbors often heard their loud arguments and witnessed the woman's rampage. The police would come and go with nothing. Jordan managed to justify Alex's injuries, and he silently supported her stories. One day, the police came to their house again, but this time it was Alex who opened the door for them. This time, Jordan failed to whitewash herself. She said Alex was crazy and he liked to hurt himself, but the cops didn't believe her. There was too much blood, and the dirty socks instead of bandages made the cops suspicious. They took Alex away to the hospital. The doctors were shocked. They said their patient was on the verge of life and death. They had to remove a significant portion of skin to prevent tissue necrosis and treated all the wounds. They were also convinced that the guy needed surgery immediately. The doctors were already preparing the operating room when Jordan ran into the hospital. She made Alex pack up and sign a waiver of hospitalization. The man, overwhelmed by his wife's will, agreed. Doctors tried to stop him because his injuries were too life-threatening. They could have even led to death. But the young couple left the hospital together. The police officers who brought Alex to the hospital didn't find out until the next day. They immediately went to the couple's house to bring the injured man back to the hospital, but they did not find them at the family home.
I was just about to go and have the surgery, and Jordan brought me out the hospital.
The nurses kept saying, please stay with us, please stay with us. And they ended up getting the consultant down.
The young men packed up urgently, fled, and stopped answering calls. The police officers had no right to start searching for an adult male without a reason. All they had to do was wait. So, a week passed, and Alex eventually came to the police himself. He was scared and still asked for help. Except immediately, Jordan flew in after him. She was angry, and so she wasn't concerned about her appearance or her own behavior. She grabbed Alex's neck hard and demanded that he come home. She screamed that he was obligated to be with her and the children. That's when they were immediately separated and sent for questioning. Alex had lost all confidence after his encounter with his wife. He lost all the determined fervor with which he went to go get help. He begged to be released and to admit his words were hasty, that it was his own fault for his injuries. But the police refused to honor his request. They simply sent the man to the hospital and asked him to get the help he needed. Even there, the doctors officially issued a diagnosis. If Alex had come later, or not at all, he would have died, or he would have had to have his hands amputated. This allowed the police to charge Jordan with 17 counts. Surprisingly, the girl was sure of her impunity. She thought she would be released in an hour, but things turned out to be different. She was tried in the same year, recognizing her actions as controlling and coercive behavior. She was also charged with willful wounding and causing grievous bodily harm. In court, she admitted to the acts committed. She was given a sentence of 7.5 years in prison and was also banned from approaching Alex for life. For the UK, it was a sensational case. After all, it was the first time a woman had been tried for domestic violence against a man. But what is even more surprising is that during the trial, Jordan Worth managed to start a new relationship with another man. And in 2023, Jordan announced her engagement to bricklayer Adam Steff. Adam is said to have been warned about Jordan's past by many friends and indeed his entire family. They convinced him that dating the once domestic abuser was a bad idea. One friend even sent a documentary featuring Alex Skeel, but Adam ignored other people's advice and continued to post his joyful photos with his fiancée. He didn't believe the allegations against Jordan. He believed that she had been slandered by jealous people. In addition, after the hearing which took place on July 4th, 2023, the Criminal Parole Commission decided to release Jordan Worth from serving her sentence early. The commission decided that the girl was no longer a danger to society. Alex, on the other hand, was treated by psychologists for a long time and also underwent rehabilitation in a group for victims of violence. Being exposed to violence for 8 months had a serious impact on his psyche. When Alex was asked why he did not immediately stop the abuse, he said that he did not recognize it at first. He didn't think it was psychological pressure. He truly believed in their love. But gradually, the usual poking and prodding turned into hitting and punching. He was afraid to seek help because Jordan had psychologically broken him. Yet, for the time being, Alex continues to live with his extended family. It's the view that women are not the only ones who can suffer from domestic violence. The case is going hard, but gradually the old stereotypes are crumbling. He is minding his own business and raising his beloved children. He's also moving on with his life.